39 days ago, I got a closed rhinoplasty and a breast augmentation with Dr. John Diaz in Beverly Hills, California, and I vlogged the entire process for you guys, starting from the consultation to preparing for the surgery, the day of the surgery, the recovery. Listen, this is a real look at what it's like to get both a breast augmentation and a rhinoplasty at the same time. And now that I'm like halfway recovered, I guess. The beginning of this video is going to be the vlog from the surgery, and then after the vlog, we're going to flip to the Q&A. So you guys have been asking me tons of questions all over my social media. So before we do anything, let's do a before and after super quickly. This is my closed rhinoplasty before. This is my closed rhinoplasty after. And likewise, this is my breast augmentation before. And this is my breast augmentation after. Do I have your attention now? I do feel I need to disclose that although I'm insanely happy with my results, like literally I got everything that I wanted, this is not my final result. Final results for your rhinoplasty aren't seen until 12 to 24 months after your surgery, okay? You're looking at a super swollen tip, a swollen bridge, a nose that's a little bit too upturned. During your healing process, your tip drops, things settle and look less extreme. And my breasts will also continue to what is called drop and fluff, even though to me they look like they've already dropped and fluffed. I'm gonna assume that we're not in enemy territory, that all of you can see the vision and trust the process. And without further ado, let's roll the vlog clips. I'm going to my second consultation with Dr. John Diaz. This is technically my consultation for the rhinoplasty, because the first one was for the breast augmentation, which I knew for sure I wanted to do. Anyway, it's a really long story and I'm sure I've already explained it. So we're doing the nose today.
This would be 220, this is 255. So if you take a picture.
It is the day before the surgery. The anesthesiologist assistant called me just now and kind of reminded me everything that I needed to know before the surgery. I just put my scopolamine anti-nausea patch on. It's basically an anti-nausea medication that is prescribed, that is a sticker. Hi guys, today is my surgeries day. The time is 11:42. My surgery is at 1 p.m. What am I currently thinking about? Honestly, the same thing I have been thinking about for the past 3 months, that I've been waiting for this surgery. And that is 275 or 255 or 220. That is the question. I still don't know what implant size I want. I'm contemplating showing this to him to be like, can we not do the round thing? And this is me. This is what I brought in for my nose, to show him what I don't like about my nose. Oh, look, they're calling me.
May I speak to Sonya?
Hi, it's Sonya.
You can come in as soon as possible. We would be ready to see you. We finished earlier than we thought. But yeah, no rush. If you can still only get here at 1, that's okay.
Okay, so they just took me backstage, I was about to say. They took me to the back so that I could change into my surgical outfit, which is right here. I just did my nicotine test. Good luck to me. Blue is my color.
I would consider it more of a refine because you already have great features. We're just taking what you have and making it a little bit better. I think your main concern was the profile, making the nose overall a little bit smaller, giving it more definition, and then from the front, making the tip of the nose a little bit more defined. And also she has a little bit of a deviation, which is very normal. All human beings are slightly asymmetric. And then with the breast, Sonya wants something relatively conservative, something very natural, not too full, but still with some fullness. That's still very natural, very proportional. So we went through all the options. And then we did 3D imaging for both. We did 3D imaging for the breast and for the nose. The next step before surgery is to draw markings. And so I thought we'd do that. Straight ahead. 1, 2, 3. Look up like you're looking at the ceiling. Good. 1, 2, 3. Great on you. 275 will look great on you. All of those sizes will look great on you.
Would it help for me to see them?
Actually, it would hurt you. We are now ready to begin the surgery. How are you feeling?
Great.
All right, good. I love that enthusiasm.
Great. You guys, my cat is terrified of me. Why? I look that bad? Guys, I feel like a truck ran over me. I was planning on going home yesterday and taking pictures in bed, being like, hey guys, I'm back home, ready to heal. Hell no. Hey guys. I was in a lot of pain, a lot more pain than I anticipated, and particularly a lot more pain where I didn't expect it, because you would think that you would be sore near your incisions, right? No, my upper back literally feels like a train ran over me. But I'm so happy that they don't feel too big. Like, what a relief. I obviously have not taken my bra off, but just like feeling proportionally, I am so happy. I don't know what you were expecting, but this is what I was expecting. Basically, my surgery was at 1 p.m. yesterday. I woke up at almost 9 p.m. and I was like, oh my god, is the little hand seriously at an 8? It was like 8:30. I was shook. I was in surgery for like 6 hours. The absolute hardest part was driving home. All of those speed bumps in Beverly Hills. That was so freaking awful. I think I cried on the way back. It's like pain that I maybe I should stop talking. It's gonna look super hot when it's healed, okay? Trust me. And my cat is terrified of me, you guys. She literally is hiding from me. Will not look at me. Is it like this? We got some tape. All good. No, wait. The worst part yesterday actually was feeling like I was gonna throw up. Because I like imagine throwing up and your nose is clogged. Because personally when I throw up through my nose and my mouth. And I would not like to throw up through my nose right now. You know, like that would just be so painful. And I didn't throw up, you guys. I did not. Can you believe it? I don't know why my camera like doesn't focus. Oh, day 2. Hi guys, today is day 2 post-op. Because I look rough. My back hurts so much too. I can't. Oh, today is day 3 post-op. I'm feeling a lot better than yesterday and definitely the day before that. The pain is a lot better. I still don't look very great, but day 3 and day 4 is supposed to be the worst. So if this is the worst, I'll take it because I feel great. And my cat stopped being afraid of me, right? We love each other. My nose is super stuffed, by the way. My post-op is in 3 days. Oh my god, wait, I totally forgot to mention I took a shower today. Okay, bye. So today's day 5 post-op, and today I have my post-op appointment, which is where I'm headed in this self-driving Waymo, which just so happened to be the cheapest way for me to get to Beverly Hills. It cost $24. Hopefully there's not a reason it's so cheap. So I think we might be removing the splint today. Wait, by the way, if they do end up taking this cast off today, honestly, I don't think it's gonna be too upturned. I almost don't want to even look. I want to be like, okay, I'm probably gonna hate it. Just let me go home. It's not like this is my final result. In fact, it's my most swollen the result will ever be. I look so unrecognizably insane, but I forgot to tell you guys what actually happened during my follow-up appointment. Sorry, I can't really talk properly because my lip feels weird. So she took my cast off, was not painful. She changed the tape underneath my boobies, which is gonna last me 1 month, and if they come off sooner than that, then I'm gonna have to start applying scar tape so that the scars can disappear really nice and quick. I'm surprised that my cast came off after 5 days only, but I love my results so far. It's like not too different, but different in all of the ways that I wanted. Today is 10 days. This is kind of what my nose looks like. It feels like a brick. It's entirely numb. The only part of my nose that I can feel is like it's entirely numb. This is the extent of my bruising. My nose is so itchy. Hi you guys, it has been over 2 weeks. I completely forgot to vlog. Let me take my mask off and show you what we're working with. As you can tell, when I talk now, it's a little bit less crazy looking. I've heard people talk about this before, but after you get a rhinoplasty, the blackheads or the pores on your nose, they become like 3-dimensional. For me, at least, they did. Today is day 19. It looks like I don't sleep, but it's just the bruising that's left over. Should I show you my titties? Something I should have been doing all along is like telling you guys updates about how I feel. So I guess I may as well tell you right now. Day 19 side effects. None. Just like the bruising under my eyes. I can breathe out of my nose, which thank God. Honestly, did I tell you guys this? When I woke up from the surgery, I could breathe through both of my nostrils 100% because I thought I would wake up and not be able to breathe at all. I thought my nose would be packed, but it wasn't. And I could literally breathe perfectly. Okay, bye, love you. Where did the time go? It is already 1 month since my surgeries and I'm going to my 1 month post-op appointment. I'm not sure what exactly they're gonna do at this appointment. I think just assess me and really look inside my nose. I think this is like the first official review of if everything really looks the way it's supposed to. I imagined for things to go super smooth and excellent because he's an excellent surgeon, but my whole point is things went even better than good. Wow. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember being here. It looks a little medieval, honestly.
Just our rooftop.
Oh.
Yeah. Because we're on the penthouse.
And then I woke up here, I do remember, and that's the clock where I was like, oh my god, it's already 9.
Yeah.
Did they mean to do something up here? Because it looks really cool. Oh my god, I'm so happy. I am so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. My only regret, honestly, is doing both surgeries at the same time. I wish I got to spend more time with the nurses and the surgeon and all of the entire team there is so friendly, so nice. It has obviously been 1 month, like I said. I got cleared to wear whatever bra I want. She even said that I could go back to the gym and do all of my workouts again, except I should probably take it a little bit easier. The surgeon said I don't have to tape my nose unless I'm traveling and flying, which I will be actually next month. You don't need to tape your nose in my particular scenario. I mean, I'm basically good to go. I don't know, no notes, like nothing is wrong. So I asked my surgeon, how come you put the smaller implant? Because I was debating between 275 and 255. It's 275 or 255 or 220? That is the question. He told me that he was gonna try the bigger implant first, and if it didn't fit, then he would do the smaller one. Since he went with the smaller one, I assumed that he tried the bigger one first, but I think he actually didn't even try the bigger one. Based off what he told me today, he said that he was listening all of my fears and everything that I was telling him about what I wanted, and he deducted the fact that I wanted like elegant, classy boobs, and like based off everything that you've been telling me, like I just went with the smaller one. And thank God. Do you guys remember the first thing that I ever said about my boobs when I got out of surgery?
But I'm so happy that they don't feel too big. Like, what a relief.
Then I also asked him, how did you achieve my nose? Like, I feel like that's a very complicated question to be like, so what exactly did you do to my nose? Because I don't understand, if there's no grafts, like how did you turn this into this? And what he told me was that he basically had to separate the 6 different parts of my nose, alter all of them, and then in the end kind of put them back together. I'm so happy. Yay, I made the best decision ever, and in a sense, I'm glad that I waited as long as I did, because I'm glad that I stumbled upon my surgeon the way that I did. I'm not sure that I would have had such great results if I had done it sooner, so. Okay, so let's try to answer some frequently asked questions. These were not only my first surgeries in life, but obviously my first plastic surgeries. And I waited this long to get my surgeries because I don't take it lightly, like what I do to my face. I think it's a huge, huge deal. I obviously didn't want anyone to mess up what I already had going on, because like many of you have already said in my comments, and you were great before. You're right, I totally was. That's why I waited this long to find the best possible doctor to give me the changes that I wanted. Not everyone has to start out with the biggest nose on the planet in order to get a rhinoplasty. People are allowed to tweak things that they don't like, even if they're small changes. Things that you might think are small changes, but again, you don't see me the way I see me. It feels self-deprecating for some reason for me to have to explain why I wanted to change things about myself. I feel like I shouldn't have to, but that is the #1 question under like every single video is like, you were great before, why would you do this? And like, okay, I don't want to have to sit here and recount all of my insecurities and why I'm asymmetrical to you, but let's do it, I guess. My nose slanted pretty heavily to one side. When I look this way, my nose, my original nose, it used to do this too. It used to kind of swoop. And then my left side, my nose would hook. It would have a bump here and then tilt this way. When the feature right in the center of your face slants, is asymmetrical, crooked, or too big and unflattering for your face, like it was for me, I think that it ruined all of my other features. It made my eyes look more asymmetrical. It made my mouth look asymmetrical, my jaw. Unfortunately, I got my father's nose, and my father's nose only grew with age. And so did mine. I act and I model for a living. If this isn't obvious enough yet because I went with a super conservative size, I love small boobs, like a lot. I low-key even love being flat-chested. But like, why do I have to be flat-chested for my entire life? You know, I want to be different. Can I not spend 30 years flat-chested and then maybe 10 years with a little bit of something that makes me super happy and makes me feel super sexy and makes me better at my job? Yes, I can. A lot of people have asked me, aren't you afraid of breast implant illness? I totally get the concern, but no. So breast implant illness is not fully understood yet, okay? However, it is a very real risk. There are 2 Facebook groups that I really recommend you guys join. I think both of them are private. So Bust Mob is a private Facebook group that you have to ask permission from the administrators to be a part of. And it's just a bunch of women talking about their implant sizes, the recovery process, asking other women for help. What bras do you guys recommend? It is incredibly interesting and I learned so much from that group. There's also a group specifically about breast implant illness. And what you will find if you go through this group and actually read people's real lived experiences with breast implant illness, the majority of them that end up explanting, so taking their implants out, doesn't help at all. All of their symptoms usually persist, and most of the time these women end up going back to the surgeon a 3rd time and getting it put back in because they realize that was not the cause of their issue to begin with. Health anxiety is very real, okay? I just don't suffer from it. I am incredibly healthy. I have always been incredibly healthy. My family is incredibly healthy, lives very long. There's no cancer, there's no illnesses, there's no diabetes, like there's literally nothing in my family that I feel would put me at a higher risk. If you have health anxiety, I would probably not do this, but regardless of the fact that I'm incredibly healthy, I still very much so accept the fact that if something goes wrong, if I start to feel like my health is declining, I've already accepted the fact that I may have to explant my implants. Anytime you get any elective cosmetic surgery, I feel like you also have to accept the fact that something could go wrong and you might have to pay that whole price all over again just to get it fixed. You kind of always have to take your chance, even if you're going to the best surgeon in the world, because even if he does his job, you might not heal the way that you think you're going to heal. You know, the body does mysterious things. But at the end of the day, I did my research, a lot of it. I chose a great surgeon and I felt super confident in my decision. So that's just kind of where we're at. Lots of people have asked me this. Why did I choose my plastic surgeon? At this point in the video, I'm pretty sure I've already mentioned the fact that, and if I haven't, I will. I've wanted these procedures basically for my entire life. I was insecure about my nose since I was a child. I didn't get any plastic surgeries in my 20s because I felt like my face was changing every single damn year. I was still growing into my features and I honestly was holding on to hope that my boobs would at least still grow to at least like a B cup. Honestly, that's all I really wanted was a B cup. It never happened and I pretty much accepted that it never will happen when I turned 30. I think that this all started coming to be in about May or June. So I was looking around on the internet like every now and then, but I honestly didn't really find anything because there's just so many surgeons. Most of the surgeons that I try to research, I find one picture that I'm like, that looks awful. And then I get the ick and then I forget that doctor. And then I start the process all over again. Because if I haven't mentioned it yet, I am a famous hater of boob jobs. I generally don't really like the way that they look. I've seen more bad boob jobs than I have seen good ones, even though obviously I know that good ones exist. I go on his profile and what do you know? Like, I mean, you guys don't have to believe me. I highly recommend that you go check it out for yourself because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. His before and afters, specifically for breast augmentations, I don't think I've ever seen better before and afters, like consistently. And it's gorgeous specifically in the ways that I'm picky about. So natural. And that to me was like the top priority. Obviously, I hit him up and I set up a consultation. I had to wait about 3 months for my consultation. And during my consultation, I pretty much immediately knew that it was going to happen. So why would I get both of these procedures done at the same time? I have been very seriously contemplating this for at least like 3+ years. I don't know what I was specifically waiting for. I think I was just waiting for the surgeon discovery that felt right. At first, when I got my boob job consult, I almost canceled it because I felt like I wasn't really being honest with myself. I was not insecure about my boobs the way that I was about my nose, and I felt like doing my nose would impact me more than my boobs. But then I considered the fact that my husband said that he would pay for my boobs, so I'm like, why is this even like a contemplation? Like, just do it, right? When I mentioned potentially also wanting a rhinoplasty during my first consultation, Dr. John Diaz told me that it's like pretty common to do both at the same time, and it's even a little bit more clutch because it's less expensive because you're only paying for anesthesia and surgical room fees once. You only have to pay for lab work once. You only have to take time off work once, which is huge, and you only recover once. It's basically just like a little cheaper and faster. I feel like I was in a very unique position because I very much so wanted to stay the same while also looking different. From our first consultation, I got the idea that Dr. Diaz does this all the time. He's a master at finessing. It's that I could generally tell that his approach, his style, his aesthetic was what I wanted. I didn't come to my consultation with photos of noses I wanted or like boobs I wanted, kind of, but not really, especially not for the nose. And that's because I didn't want anyone else's nose. I wanted the best possible version for my own face, because everyone's face is different. Even if I think Bella Hadid, for example, has the best nose in the world, her nose will more than likely not look anywhere near as good on me because I don't have her other facial features. The most important thing to me was that the surgeon understood, like, very deeply and kind of in the same way that I do, what is harmonious on someone's face. In the same way that I do, but better, obviously. And one of my only job requirements, other than making it to work on time, is maintaining my measurements down to the ½ inch. And I just didn't really want to tell all of my clients, hey, so I'm like a double D now. That would just be so weird. I feel like I wanted to maintain the essence of who I was. I realized that I was an anomaly when I went on the Facebook group Bust Mob. Majority of the posts were, oh my god, I hate the way I look. I hate my results 1 week after. I look crazy. My boobs are all the way up to my chin, which gave me a lot of anxiety, not gonna lie. Thank God that did not happen to me, okay? So it doesn't have to happen to everyone. But the other posts were like, oh my gosh, I regret the fact that my implants are way too small. Usually these people are like, I got 380 cc's, which is, in my opinion, pretty big. And they're like, it's too small. And even when I spoke to Dr. John Diaz, he told me that the #1 regret with breast augmentations is going too small. So he recommended that I go with 275. And I'm like, I don't know, that seems a little big. I even let like peer pressure get to me because the day of the surgery, I told him, okay, fine, you can do 275 because people say that after your boobs drop in fluff, they get smaller. Some people say they get bigger. Some people say they got 200 cc's and they ended up a double D. Some people say they got 200 cc's and they ended up an A cup. Girl, there is just so much information out there that like it's hard to know how you'll end up looking like, you know. A lot of it is also impacted by your starting tissue, like how much breast tissue you have to begin with. Something else that I was really surprised to learn is that most of my examples of breast augmentations that I don't like, what I would consider botched boob jobs, the reasons I would consider them botched, such as your nipples sit up here, they're way too close, way too far. A lot of that stuff is, as I've come to discover, actually anatomical. Those girls were probably, unfortunately, just born that way, and surgeons can't change your anatomy. If one of your boobs is naturally sitting up here and one of them is down here, like your surgeon is gonna have a very hard time balancing you and making you symmetrical. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people talk shit about famous people's boob jobs. Like, oh my god, she has so much money. Why are her nipples up here? Unfortunately, I think they were born that way. Maybe we should stop bullying people. Let's talk about what my consultation was like. So I had 2 consultations, both of them for about an hour each, which I'm realizing is incredibly rare because I went home obviously to watch a bunch of videos about like my rhinoplasty experience or like my breast augmentation experience, and a lot, if not most people were saying that they got like maybe 10 minutes with their surgeon. That he came in, said a couple things, and then sped out. That they didn't really get to ask like all of the questions they want, all of their concerns weren't necessarily addressed. Some people don't even meet their surgeon until the day of surgery. Oh my god, I literally could never. Don't you care what you're gonna end up looking like? Like, please. So during my consultation, I showed him a printed out document of what I like and what I don't like. And the majority of the photos that I attached were actually photos from his website. And I did that on purpose because I feel like if you're going to a surgeon, all of your favorite work should be his work. And I really like the fact that he actually sat there and let me ask him the weirdest questions ever. So something that I was incredibly surprised to learn is how implant sizes are actually chosen. We are in the era of like those Kylie Jenner TikTok trend videos, you know, where they write like how many cc's you have, the surgeon over under the muscle, blah, blah, blah. I thought that you were supposed to be like, okay, this girl has 300 cc's. I like her boobs. That's what I need. That's what's gonna fit in me. And that's what I'm gonna look like if I get 300 cc's. Couldn't be further from true. Imagine my surprise. In my experience, this is how implant sizes are actually chosen. So I was photographed with a camera from all angles and then measured in the most detailed way I've ever been measured in my life. They measure things like from your nipple to the crease of your boob, the distance between your nipples, how much your rib cage protrudes out on both sides, by the way, because it can be different. Mine was. How crazy. The volume difference between your left breast and your right breast, and the total width of your breast, which is like from here to here. And by the way, this is called BWD, breast width diameter. You're gonna see and hear that word a lot, especially if you join that Facebook group. This is not an ad for that Facebook group. So the way it works is, let's say your BWD is 11.5, which just so happens to actually be my breast width diameter. Let's say that with my implants, I don't want them to be too high, but I don't want them to be like too natural and flat. So I probably want something that's a moderate profile. I look under moderate profile, I find my breast width diameter, and as we can see, that corresponds to 275 cc, which is literally how we came up with my implant size. Then using your 3D images, your surgeon can then show you what that implant size would look like on your body. There's also a lot more that goes into it, like cohesivity, which is like how jiggly or firm it is. Most girls really want cohesive implants. They tend to have the most upper pole, they tend to retain the most upper pole. I like implants that look more like a fat transfer, just that hang low, super natural. And most girls, according to the research that I've done on Facebook, it sounds so stupid, most girls tend to like the complete opposite. So just keep that in mind, okay? You might not want what I wanted. So how did I feel going into surgery and then immediately coming out? In general, I can be quite an anxious person, but I will say I wasn't necessarily anxious about this. I mean, you guys have already seen the vlog. I was calm as a cucumber. I think my blood pressure was like pretty low. My pulse was low. I had like the opposite of anxiety for some reason, because honestly, I've done worse. I've had 3 IUDs placed in, okay? So I'm not afraid of much in this life anymore. And it doesn't hurt that the team is super friendly, super nice, very good vibes, very kind. I felt super safe and I trusted them. The team called me the next day and then I think a week after my surgery, so they kept following up with me. The surgeon also gave me an after hours phone number, so if I had any questions at like 11 p.m. at night that were super urgent and I needed to talk to him, I could do that, but I actually didn't really need to because everything was pretty straightforward and I kind of knew what to expect. In the years prior, when I complained to my husband about, oh, I hate my nose, he was like, okay, so let's go to Turkey and I'll get a hair transplant and you can get your rhinoplasty. You know, those like hair transplant boyfriend, rhinoplasty girlfriend memes? That would have been us. But I don't have health anxiety, but I do have anxiety over being misunderstood, because boy, am I misunderstood, even when I speak English, which is why I would never be able to go overseas or go to a plastic surgeon that sees me for 5 minutes and like totally dismisses the 10 pages of questions that I have. Because you might do this every day, but this is the first and only time I'm doing this in my life. So I would want you to treat this as important as it is to me, you know? Which my surgeon definitely did. And it impressed me because he is obviously incredibly successful. His office is like in Beverly Hills, you know? Very many green flags. Something I'm realizing that most people don't talk about in their videos is after your consultation, at least it was this way for me, I went home with a binder full of informed consent forms. So this basically tells you all of the risks involved in doing the procedures that you want to do. The folder also included pages worth of like your first week after your rhinoplasty, your first week after your boob job, what to expect after a month, things that you need to buy, medications that you have to avoid. So on top of all of the excessive research that I've been doing on my own time, I got a literal binder full of forms to read and learn about. So I felt incredibly informed. In fact, I think I felt overly informed. Like I know too much at this point. But yeah, but maybe that's why I didn't have any anxiety going into this, you know? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful. Unfortunately, you may or may not have already noticed that my comments are off. This is done because people are confused sometimes when I leave my comment section on and they think that it's an invitation to comment on my appearance, which it never is. I don't want to be bullied by grown adults, so it's going to be off. If you have any personal questions, you can feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'll try to leave absolutely all information down below in the description. And hopefully you guys found this video fun and entertaining and interesting. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.